favored my stepdaughter. Because I wanted her to feel accepted, so I let her skip chores and gave her extra money. But when my son asked for the same, I told him he had to earn it. Now my wife says I've humiliated my own child. My son's refusing to speak to me, and I'm starting to realize I might have broken my family trying to fix it. I genuinely thought I was being a good dad, but after the last week, I'm starting to realize maybe I got it completely backwards. I'm 44M, and I've been married to my wife, Noelle, 38F, for 5 years. We have 2 kids, her daughter Annika, 15 now, and our son Wesley, 13. Annika's dad hasn't been in her life for a long time. He left when she was really young, and from what I know, he barely calls or visits. When I met Noelle, Annika was shy, quiet, and always trying to please everyone around her. I remember telling myself that if I was ever going to be part of her life, I wanted her to feel completely accepted, not just tolerated as the stepkid. I grew up with a dad who treated my siblings and me differently. I remember how it felt to be the one who had to earn affection or approval, so I promised myself I wouldn't repeat that. The problem is, I think I went too far in the other direction without realizing it. When Annika came to live with us full-time, I was always trying to make sure she felt secure. I'd give her little breaks when she seemed overwhelmed. She didn't have to do chores if she had a rough day at school. I'd give her money here and there for snacks, clothes, new shoes because I wanted her to feel like she belonged, that she didn't have to earn her place in this house. Wesley is a completely different kid. He's confident, smart, and pretty independent for his age. He's also a bit sarcastic, but not in a mean way, just a typical 13-year-old boy. He's always been good about helping around the house, and I never worried about him the same way I worried about Annika. I guess I assumed he didn't need the same kind of attention or support because he already had a stable home life and both his parents around. That's where I screwed up. A few weeks ago, Wesley asked me if he could have extra allowance to buy new running shoes for track. I told him that if he wanted more money, he'd have to earn it by doing chores, mowing the lawn, cleaning the garage, the usual stuff. He didn't argue, just asked, "Didn't you give Annika money last week for her phone case?" I told him that was different because Annika's been through more in life and I wanted to help her feel supported. I didn't think it sounded harsh at the time, but looking back, I might as well have told him he didn't matter as much. He just stared at me, nodded, and walked off. He hasn't said much to me since. Noelle found out later that night. She said Wesley told her he felt embarrassed, like I was playing favorites. I told her that wasn't true, that I was just trying to make up for what Annika lost when her dad walked out. She said, "You're doing that by taking it out on your own son." That made me defensive. I told her she was being unfair, that she didn't understand how much Annika needed that extra care. It turned into a huge fight. Now the whole house feels divided. So I guess that's what I'm asking, am I the one who's wrong here? Is it really that bad to treat kids differently when they've had different experiences? I wanted to make my stepdaughter feel like she belonged, but it feels like in the process, I might have made my son feel like he doesn't. Update 1. Well, it's been about a week, and my son Wesley barely talks to me. He'll sit at the table for dinner but mostly picks at his food and keeps his eyes on his plate. When I ask how school or track practice went, he just shrugs or gives one-word answers. Then he takes his plate to the sink and disappears into his room. I can hear him sometimes laughing on the phone or playing games online, so it's not like he's shut down completely. He just doesn't want anything to do with me. Noelle isn't much better. She talks to me when she has to reminders about bills, appointments, or something the kids need, but that's about it. It's this quiet, heavy kind of coldness. I can tell she's angry, but also disappointed. That part hurts the most because she used to be my biggest defender as a dad. Now it feels like she's given up trying to explain anything to me. The only one still trying to hold things together is Annika, and even that's starting to fall apart. She keeps apologizing to Wesley for no reason. She didn't do anything wrong, but she feels guilty. The other night I overheard her telling him she wished she hadn't accepted the money I gave her for her phone case. He didn't answer. He just walked out of the room. Seeing her cry about something I caused hit me hard. So I came up with what I thought was a good idea, a family day out. Nothing serious, no talks or tension, just a chance to be normal again. There was a local fair that weekend, so I planned for all of us to go together. I told Noelle, and she didn't look thrilled, but she agreed. I thought that was a good sign. At first it seemed okay. Annika and Noelle went on some of the smaller rides, and I tried to get Wesley to join me in one of the games where you throw rings to win a prize, but he wasn't interested. He stayed glued to his phone, walking a few steps behind us. I kept trying to make conversation, but every answer felt like hitting a wall. Then it all fell apart. Annika tried to cheer him up by joking around, saying they should go on the bumper cars. He muttered something under his breath, and she looked shocked. When I asked what he said, she told me he called her Dad's favorite charity case. I snapped. I told him he was being disrespectful. It wasn't right, and I couldn't let him talk to her that way. But the second I said it, I saw his face change, and he walked away without saying a word, and Noelle followed him. Annika started crying, saying she shouldn't have come. We all ended up leaving early. The ride home was dead silent. When we got home, Noelle finally lost it. She told me she was tired of pretending everything was fine and that I needed to stop acting like a family day could fix years of imbalance. I tried to defend myself. I told her I was only trying to help, that I didn't mean to hurt anyone, and that this was all being blown out of proportion. She didn't yell, but she said something about how I've never been fair. Then she went upstairs, and that was the end of the conversation. I spent most of that night sitting in the kitchen thinking about what she said. I kept trying to convince myself that my intentions should count for something, but the more I thought about it, the more I started to realize how many times I'd brushed Wesley off. I told myself I was doing the right thing, that Annika needed me more, that Wesley would understand. But I think I've been lying to myself for a long time. Even now, I still want to say my intentions mattered, but maybe that's just me trying to protect my ego. I didn't mean to hurt my son. I never thought I was favoring one child over the other, but looking back, I can't ignore the pattern. I gave one kid understanding and the other expectations. Noelle's been sleeping in our room still, but it feels like she's miles away. Annika stays in her room most of the time, trying not to get in anyone's way. Wesley avoids me completely. I don't know how to fix this. Every time I try, it seems to make things worse. I feel like I've dug myself into a hole, and I can't find a way out without hurting someone else in the process. I don't want to be the kind of father who chooses one child over the other. I really thought I was doing the right thing by making sure Annika never felt like an outsider. I thought I was making up for what her real father never gave her, but now it feels like I just took that pain and handed it to my own son. I guess I'm posting again because I don't know what to do next. Noelle says I need to really listen this time, but every time I try, all I can hear is how badly I messed up. I love both my kids, but I don't know if love is enough right now. Update 2. I'm honestly exhausted trying to figure out where I went wrong and what I'm supposed to do next because everything feels like it's unraveling faster than I can keep up with. After the fight at the fair, Wesley started avoiding me even more. He stopped eating dinner with us completely and spent most of his time in his room or at practice. When I'd try to talk to him, I'd get short answers or none at all. Noelle said we needed to give him space, so I tried that. I figured maybe a little time apart would help him cool off. A few days later, she told me he was staying over at a friend's house for a couple of days. She said it was one of the boys from his track team, and I didn't question it. I thought maybe a change of scenery would help him clear his head. At first, I honestly felt a bit relieved. I hate admitting that, but it was true. The tension in the house had been awful. I thought maybe him getting away would give us all some breathing room. I even told Noelle it was probably for the best. She didn't say much, just nodded. Then a few days turned into almost a full week. Wesley wasn't home, wasn't answering my texts, and Noelle would just say, "He's fine." I spoke to him. Every time I asked more, she got defensive, so I backed off. I assumed he was staying with his friend's family, maybe enjoying it, and didn't want to come home yet, but it still didn't sit right with me. Everything blew up when I ran into Coach Daniels at the grocery store. He's Wesley's track coach, and we've spoken a few times in passing. He saw me, and mid-conversation said, "Oh yeah, Tyler's been happy having him around. Wesley's a good kid. I think it's been good for him to get a break." I didn't say anything right away, but my stomach dropped. Tyler is the coach's son. That meant Wesley wasn't just staying at a friend's, he'd been staying with his coach's family. I didn't even know they were that close. When I got home, I asked Noelle why she hadn't told me the truth. She didn't even try to deny it. She said Wesley was staying with the coach because he needed somewhere calm, and that she didn't tell me because she knew I'd make it worse. Apparently, Wesley told her he didn't feel comfortable being home while things were so tense between us, and that he wanted to stay somewhere else. That hit me hard. I felt blindsided and betrayed all at once by my wife, my son, even his coach. I couldn't believe she went behind my back like that. I told her that was our son, and I had a right to know where he was. She told me that right now, what Wesley needed was space, not my authority. That line rubbed me a bit wrong. Later that night, I called Coach Daniels myself. I tried to be calm, but I could hear how defensive I sounded. He said Wesley was doing okay, that he'd been polite and quiet, spending time with Tyler and helping around the house. He said they weren't trying to interfere, they just didn't want to send him home to an environment that felt hostile. He also said something that's been eating at me since. He told me Wesley had opened up a little and said he felt replaced, that I only paid attention to him when he was achieving something, but that Annika got love just for being there. Hearing that out loud made something in me sink. I didn't even have an argument for it, because when I thought about it, he wasn't wrong. After that call, I sat in the living room for hours. When I finally went to bed, Noelle was still awake. We didn't fight this time. She just told me quietly that she wasn't angry anymore, just tired. She said Wesley had been telling her for months that he felt like an afterthought, and that she'd tried to talk to me about it, but I never listened. She said she lied because she was trying to protect him from me, not because she thought I'd hurt him, but because I wouldn't listen. Update 3. It's been nearly 2 months since my last post, and to be honest, it feels like we've been living in a slow, uncomfortable silence. The kind that stretches out through every meal, every car ride, and every night where the house feels too big for how little anyone talks. Wesley came back home around 3 weeks after the incident with the coach. It wasn't because I convinced him or because Noelle demanded it, it was because his coach and Noelle talked to him privately, and he agreed to try again. I didn't even know he was coming back until I walked into the kitchen one morning and saw his backpack by the counter. I remember standing there, feeling like I didn't know what to do or say. It should have been a relief, but it just made everything real again, that he didn't trust me anymore, that I'd caused something I couldn't undo with one apology. Since then, it's been quiet. He's here physically, but it's like he's built a wall around himself. He eats, he does homework, he goes to practice, he comes home, and he stays in his room. He's polite if I speak to him, but only in that detached, robotic way kids use when they're trying not to start anything. Yeah, fine. I don't know. That sort of thing. Noelle told me not to push him, which is fair enough. I've been going to therapy weekly since everything came out. I didn't realize how much of my so-called good parenting was really about control until someone said it out loud. But I see now that the damage doesn't care about your reasoning. Wesley doesn't care why I made him feel small, only that I did. Annika has been the one trying the hardest to hold everything together, which is painful to watch. She's been helping more around the house without me asking. She keeps trying to stay out of the way, like she's scared of being the reason anyone fights again. She even told me one night that she didn't want Wesley to think she was taking something from him that was supposed to be his. I didn't know what to say to that. The kid I thought I was protecting now carries guilt that isn't hers. Noelle's different. Not distant exactly, but cautious. She's stopped yelling. She doesn't argue anymore. She's civil, polite even. But I can feel that wall between us too. Some nights she still sleeps on the couch, even though she doesn't have to. She says it's not punishment, just space. I think she's protecting her peace, and honestly, I can't blame her. We've been doing family therapy, though it's been slow. The therapist encourages everyone to speak freely. Wesley mostly stays quiet, but when he does talk, he's honest. He said he stopped talking to me because every time he did, I made him feel like his feelings were a burden, that I always explained instead of listened. That one hit me like a punch in the chest because I realized he's right. Every single conversation with him used to be me trying to defend myself instead of just hearing what he was saying. Annika opened up too. She said she never wanted to be the favorite and that she knew from the start I treated her differently. She said it made her feel uncomfortable that she didn't like getting things she hadn't earned, especially when it caused tension with Wesley. I always thought she was oblivious to it, but she wasn't. She saw everything, she just didn't know how to bring it up without feeling ungrateful. Hearing all of that laid out in a therapist's office was rough. I sat there and had to face every version of myself I'd been pretending didn't exist. The one who justified, who minimized, who thought being a provider and meaning well was enough. Wesley's come down to the garage a few times to grab tools or ask about something related to school projects. We don't talk about emotions, but sometimes he lingers, and we'll end up working on something small together, sanding a piece of wood, cleaning up the workbench. Those moments are quiet, but they feel like progress. Noelle and I don't talk about the lie anymore. I know she shouldn't have hidden where Wesley was, but now I understand why she did. If I'm honest, if I had found out sooner, I probably would have shown up and made everything worse. That's the kind of person I was then, someone who wanted control more than understanding. That's where things are now. It's not dramatic or explosive, but it's real. Wesley's home, Noelle's here, Annika's healing, and I'm doing the one thing I should have done years ago: listening. Final update. It's been around 5 months since everything came crashing down, and I think this will be my last post. I won't pretend things are magically perfect or that I've completely redeemed myself, but we're not the same family that we were when I first wrote. Noelle and I are still together. She never moved out, but for a while we were basically just coexisting. We slept separately, barely spoke except about the kids, and the air between us was heavy all the time. I honestly thought she was just waiting until Wesley felt settled before asking for a separation, but she didn't. She told me she stayed because she saw me trying for the first time, not just defending myself. We're still doing therapy together, and it's been uncomfortable. I've had to listen to her describe what it was like watching me slowly favor Annika, not just with money or chores, but with attention and patience. She said it felt like she was watching me erase our son in slow motion. I didn't have an answer for that. All I could say was that I thought I was doing the right thing at the time. She said that was the problem. I always thought I was right. I don't blame her for not forgiving me yet. She told me she still doesn't trust that I can see both kids as equals, and maybe she's right. I don't know if it's something that ever disappears entirely. What I do know is that I've stopped trying to justify my choices. I used to explain everything away as doing what was best for Annika, but the truth is, I wanted to be the kind of father I never had. I used Annika's pain as a way to fix my own childhood, and in the process, I broke my son's. Annika has been doing a lot better lately. She's been volunteering at an after-school program helping younger kids with art, and I can see she's found something that makes her proud of herself. She still keeps some distance from me though. She's polite and kind but doesn't come to me for things anymore. For a while, that hurt. But then, during a therapy session, she said she never wanted to be treated differently. She just wanted to feel like part of the family, without it being a big deal. That was the moment I understood how much pressure I'd put on her too. I made her carry my guilt and my need to prove something. She didn't ask for that. Wesley and I have started spending time together again. It's nothing deep, mostly just working on a project in the garage or watching a game, but it's ours. He's let his guard down a little. The other day, he asked if we could build a small shelf for his trophies, and when I said sure, he just nodded like it was no big deal. But after he left, I had to sit there for a few minutes because it hit me that he'd finally asked me for something again. Noelle told me she sees change, but she's being careful. We've had dinners together again as a family, and it's not awkward anymore. We laugh sometimes. Wesley teases Annika, and she rolls her eyes, and for a few minutes, it feels like what a family is supposed to feel like. There are still nights when Noelle sleeps on the couch. She says she needs space to figure out if she can really trust me again, and I respect that. I don't argue or take it as punishment. I know that what I broke wasn't something that can be fixed with an apology or a grand gesture. It's about showing consistency, not intensity. So no, we're not a perfect family. Noelle still has doubts, Wesley still has distance, and I still carry shame, but we're moving forward. I've stopped trying to be the good guy who fixes everything. I just want to be the person who doesn't make things worse. I didn't lose my family, though for a while it felt like I had.